Here's a recent video clip of the guy running down the street and somebody, identified. Here he is.
Somebody's shooting over here. How are people running? There he is, right there.
So now,
That guy.
yeah, you got a guy, looks like he got some shorts on, a black hoodie, black whatever. I'm really interested to find out who this person is. Backpack on. Yepper. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. It looks like he took his headgear off. Looks like, definitely a white male and some long hair. He needs to be caught. And I hope he doesn't try to take the cheap way out when they catch him. A lot of these folks who do this stupid stuff will self-delete and things like that. I hope they catch his butt alive. I really do. This is horrible. But somebody got eyes on him. Somebody actually caught him on video running around.
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
To my grave.
So here goes President Trump. He comes out and, of course, he addresses this. And what I loved about Charlie is, you look at the impact Trump has had on a political scale and how so many, middle to older folks, support Trump. Charlie was like a gap, a bridge between the middle and older folks that, support the MAGA movement and bringing younger folks into it. And, when you look at the impact that he had, he was definitely dangerous because he was changing the landscape of how these young adults view social, issues, how they view political issues. And that is dangerous to a lot of folks with crazy radical ideology. And when you find somebody that impactful and is a wordsmith and is able to challenge your ideas, with facts and destroy all of these crazy behind narratives and beliefs, that can be very frustrating, especially to liberals. They don't like that. They don't like folks getting in there and exposing that what you're thinking about and what you believe in doesn't make sense. And you get to a point where you're saying, you know what? I can't win against this person. And it's such a cheap way of trying to have a victory when you say, I can't beat this person head to head. I can't, overcome all of the facts and the logic and the reasoning and the common sense this person is making. And I'm going to attempt to shut this person down in the most drastic way instead of trying to compete, and with ideas. Can't do it. And this is across the board when it comes down to liberals. That's why they don't like to debate. They don't like when you get in their face and start challenging them. And they say, shame, shame. They start blocking you with screaming. They protect who they think might be vulnerable in their pack. You're talking to one of them. They'll all come and circle around. Don't talk to this person, and shoo you away. They don't like it. If your ideas are that great, let them stand on the merits, debate them. But no, instead, they resort to violence. And, we're going to see as we go through this, it's not just the final stage and manifestations of the radical left that is really responsible for this. This has been being festered for a good 10 plus years now, if not more, by politicians. And that's what really burns me up. Politicians and irresponsible folks in the media who have convinced a lot of people in our society that conservatives are evil, Trump is evil, we must win by any means necessary, and everything is justified based on our crazy radical ideology. I mean, when you start, demonizing folks and making these crazy, unstable people feel like we're not, attacking regular, moral citizens and people like us. We're attacking folks who they're so morally tainted, they deserve this type of violence. And you don't see these Democrats or the left pulling back or pulling up on this. And it's really hard to figure out how to undo this because they have polluted the minds of a lot of people in our country. And you will see it as we watch some of the responses that people have to what happened to Charlie Kirk. When you get people in society that is cheering on and celebrating an assassination of a father and a husband, we've hit a new moral low. You don't see this come out of conservatives. You don't see this. You only see it coming out of the loony, crazy, radical left. So here's Trump coming out and talking about what took place.
Fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world.
And you could see that. And I'm sure this new modern progressive ideas of what happiness looks like, what the nuclear family represents, the patriarchal system and all of this. I mean, these are the things and the values that he represented that the radical left despises. They despise that. I mean, this man loved his wife, talked about his wife and kids all the time, talked about the importance of fathers being in the family, and then they take him away from his family. I can't even imagine what his wife right now is going through. I mean, her whole life has changed. She got to figure out how to raise these two kids and, explain to them the evils that took place that would take their father away like that. I can't even imagine it. I can't imagine it. So, yeah, family man, loved his family, and devout Christian. Let's finish hearing what Trump had to say.
We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever.
And that is true. That is true. I mean, loved him or hated him, those kids came out. They either came out to support him or came out to see if somebody can best him, if somebody can go ahead and trip him up. And he was so effective at what he did. It was frustrating. You would see clips. I mean, I would sit back for hours watching clips of Charlie Kirk destroy the radical left when it comes down to debate. In fact, the other day, my last lot, I think it might have been my last one or the one before that one, I used a clip. No, it wasn't even, it was a regular video that I uploaded and I just made it a premiere where I was talking about, the response to black violence and things like that. And at the end of that video, I used Charlie Kirk's clip debating with a young black man over his stinking thinking about, America. And he was so effective. So, I mean, he makes it nice, plain and clear. And they walk away with the tail between their legs and, try to live to fight another day. But some evil, stinking person decided, nah, we don't like that. See, the way we're going to show you guys that liberal ideology is the best is by silencing you through acts of violence. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's what we represent. And then you got fools online supporting this mess.
To share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year.
Bam. Now he's getting to the nitty gritty. And after this happened, the media and Democrats are going into crisis mode to try to justify, or at least, but what about you guys? They're gonna try that. It's your rhetoric. It's not coming out of our side. And these are the tactics that they use. But everybody with common sense knows that if you've been programming people for years about the dangers of Trump and all of his the dictatorship and he's this, he's that, and anybody who supports him is this and that. If you've been brainwashing folks for years, even folks that might have started off, relatively, stable, but they just was bombarded month after month and year after year about the conservatives and Republicans and the MAGA movement and the evils of Trump. That is enough to sway a person that just ain't wrapped tight, to the point where now all of a sudden justifying violence makes sense to them. It's the moral thing to do. I'm not going to sit there and watch all of this stuff take place and all of this hatred and they're disappearing people. I'm not going to sit there and watch that without trying to do something about it. And then they start becoming drastic. And Trump is calling it out. The true folks behind all of this, because our country wasn't like this. Trump came on the scene and their response to him was so aggressive, so over the top, that it drove half the country crazy. And so now he's calling it out. And of course, you know what they're going to do. Well, that Trump has no right to say that. It's that Trump's rhetoric. It's him that did this.
In the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today.
Yep. And you got to understand, this stuff is coming out of folks who have platforms and they have a social status that would make folks that are brainwashed take them seriously. When you turn on what you think or interpret as the news, and you hear them saying stuff like Trump's out there, this is Nazi behavior. This is like the Germany. When you're listening to Democrats who are supposed to be responsible for what they say, supposed to be saying, wait a minute, am I to drive a wedge between our citizens to where it makes our country almost get on the verge of civil war? I mean, I know that Trump's not Hitler. I know he's not a threat to democracy. I know he's not a white supremacist. I know all these things, but I'm going to purposefully and strategically use these things because we can't compete with his ideas. We can't compete with his policies. We sound stupid when we get out there and try to tell America that our radical, crazy ideas and policies make sense, and people are starting to see through us. And our response to that is to divide them with the most drastic, hateful rhetoric and labeling that you can do. Telling folks that people are Hitler reincarnated, you're about to see the manifestation of this right after this, when Trump and J.D. Vance and a few of them went to this restaurant up in D.C. and some protesters came out, and guess what they were saying?
And it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives.
Yep. And they're at the point where they celebrate it. Celebrate it. I mean, don't you have any shame? Don't you have any, like, I hope these clips of these dumb people out there celebrating this, I hope it gets back to like the jobs. You know, you are immortalizing how stupid and evil you are online. You're there forever, up there celebrating this, and then you want to live a productive life in society. After leaving on the internet, you cheering over this man being assassinated. Now, and I hope these clips follow them everywhere they go. I hope they get shamed everywhere they go. Looking at them like, I can't believe you. As foul as I think folks on the left are, I'm not wishing this. I mean, to some of these crazy behind Democrats, liberals, folks in the media, I'm not sitting back going, man, if something happened to him, I would celebrate. This evil seems to only exist in the radical left.
Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close.
Yep. And so the dummy who thought that he was silencing him just made Charlie Kirk a martyr. I mean, he made him a martyr. I mean, you know, his clips are going to be on the internet forever. I mean, people should study what he did and how he changed the landscape of modern politics on the college campuses and amongst young people. I hope the movement grows bigger. I hope a lot of young people say, you know what, this is exactly why we left the radical left. This is why we're now moving away from the indoctrination that they're pushing on these college campuses. It's unreal. And then, of course,
may God bless his memory. May God watch over his family, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
So look, here's Trump. He shows up at this event, this restaurant, and then look what happens. See, this is the rhetoric.
We have a safe city now.
We have a safe city now. A safe city until these dummies show up, and I don't even know how they got that close. But listen to the radicals over here and what they're cheering, chanting.
Enjoy your dinner.
Free, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Where did they get to see? This is the crazy thing about this. All of a sudden, man, they got Hitleritis. Everybody is Hitler. That is the solution to all their problems. Just label people as Hitler. So yeah, where'd they get this? They're hearing it from what was supposed to be responsible adults in our society. Yeah, when you're listening to folks that justify your crazy beliefs, then you're going, wow, maybe I'm not that far off when I hear, you know, people on the news calling him Hitler. Yeah, maybe I'm not that far off when I see Democrats out there comparing him to Hitler. Maybe I'm justified in me now adopting this mentality that who we are dealing with is a modern day Hitler because it's being supported by folks that are supposed to be responsible. That's what it is. You know, they are encouraging this, and these dumb brainwashed people now who all are white liberals talking about some free Palestine. You don't know nothing about Palestine. Nothing. You know, drag any of these little white chicks right here and drop them off in Palestine and they wouldn't last. If they were over there on October 6th, I forget, maybe October 6th or was it? Yeah, October 6th or 7th, something like that. I forget the date. But if they were over there, they would have been victims. They would have been victims. And here they are, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Now, the irony in this chant right here. Free DC, free Palestine. Free DC. Free DC. So DC's not free. This is the delusion. This is the radical left. So now, let me understand. you somehow walk up in there and you are chanting and calling Trump Hitler to his face, the Hitler of our time. Do you think Lefebvre would have tolerated that? The very fact that you're in there able to do that without being terminated, that goes against what you're saying. But they're not even smart enough to realize that. Not even smart enough to realize that. So once again, we got examples of dumb, crazy liberals parroting what a lot of people and the media and Democrats have been saying.